Hey guys, so I'm back with a makeup tutorial. Finally, some makeup stuff on here. Let's go ahead and get started. So I went in with the Jaclyn Hill palette for this whole entire look. So I'm going to start off with these two lighter like brown shades. They're just very on the neutral side. So I wanted to make sure that it was like I wanted to stay like on the yellowy side. I don't want like any undertones that are going to be like purpley or anything. I wanted it to stay pretty warm so that it would go really well with the green shadow that we're going to put on the inner corner. So I just built it up with those two first, and then I went in with this like kind of mustardy brown. Again, like it has like a yellowy, like orangey like undertone. So just to keep it with the like warm tones, and I went in with a smaller, more compact brush to keep it right at the very end of my eye. And then I went in with these two kind of like back and forth and put it in the same little area with the same brush. And this is just a lot of blending and just kind of like making sure the transition colors peek through like one right after the other. That's what's going to make the look really nice and seamless and just blended. If you go in with one color, it'll be like a little bit hard and you're going to have to kind of build it and build it as you go. But if you use lighter colors on the outer part and then work your way in and then just constantly go back with a clean brush on the outer edges, you'll get a really nice, seamless, like blended look. So I like to kind of map out where I'm going to do the cut crease like with eyeshadow first, because I like the eyeshadow to peek through the top of the concealer. So I just go in with a little flat brush like this and just kind of map it out. And then I'm going to go in with a tiny brush, whatever brush you want to use. Just make sure it's flat and thin. And then I'm going to use Tarte Shape Tape Concealer to map that out. And I don't like to use too much product. That's why I like to use the Tarte Shape Tape. Just make sure you use something that has really good coverage, because you don't need to use too much, because then it gets kind of thick on your eye, like on your lid. So just make sure to use like the least amount as possible, and then just when you get to the area where the eyeshadow is the darkest, just kind of blend it with your finger. That way it's nice and thin, and like when you put the eyeshadow on top, it'll blend really well. And then I ended up just going in with this little tiny tiny brush with these two. I kind of mixed them together and I laid it flat against my lid, so that way I got the most like payoff with the color. It was like the most opaque, and look at this, I had like no fallout. I didn't use any Fix Plus or like setting spray, nothing like that. So I just love these shadows. They just go on really well. So right there when I get to the middle, I just kind of like do little squiggly lines, so it kind of looks a little more blended, and it like kind of goes into the brown shadows, like that way it's not so like blunt. And then I wanted my outer V to be really dark and smoky, so I went in with the pencil brush because it's more compact, and I just packed on some of those darker browns on the outer edge, and then I went in with a fluffy brush to like blend out the edges. And since I went in with that pencil brush instead of like a blending brush, it put it on, like it added the color just very dark and opaque. It didn't do any blending at all. So that's why I like to do that when I need it to be dark in like a certain area. So here I am just going back and forth, so just doing the green in the center and then just doing the brown and blending it out. So I'm going to go ahead and get this, like, it's like a dark, it's like almost like a black, but it's like a really deep like brown almost. So I wanted that line to be pretty like crisp and clean, so I just put a little bit of darkness right there. And then I primed with my Fenty foundation, my Fenty smoothing primer, and my Makeup Forever primer that I always use. And I went in with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow foundation. I've been using two shades lately. I don't know why. I just like the way that these look together. I kind of do the lighter one in the middle of my face mostly, and then the darker one on the outer part, but they end up mixing anyway, so I mean it's not really a big deal. But I've been loving how the finish looks, because my skin's been pretty dry, more dry than usual, because it's finally cold in Arizona. Can you believe it? So now I'm doing a little concealing. I think I used light medium or light neutral, and then I use like light to kind of just brighten it up just a tiny bit. And then I went in with the G8 brush by Morphe. I love this for concealer, and then even just to blend out any edges as I'm going along, like after I do my contour or after I'm done like with all my creams. I just kind of like going over the edges with that brush with no product on it. So I'm going to go in with, I think this is a Mocha by Fenty, and it's just a contour like stick, and I just kind of contour all the same areas. And I love this little brush. I'll put which brushes and everything I used down below, but I love using this brush for contouring. Like, it blends everything super nicely. And then after I finished all of this blending, I blend so fast, don't I? Look at me go. And then I go back in with that brush that I used to blend out my concealer, and then just go over like the edges of all of that contouring. So now I'm going to do my lower lash line. I just did the two darker shades and then just used the lighter shades to kind of smoke it out a little bit. I didn't want to do like any green or anything on the lower lash line. I wanted the green to just be like the center of attention and just like really pop. So I just left the lower lash line just smoky and brown. And then I went in with Costa Riche by MAC in my waterline. I feel like this eyeliner is just like a must if you love doing, you know, smoky kind of looks. Even if you don't, this looks really nice, not even with the smoky eye, but it has like a reddish undertone. So now I'm going to add some mascara with the Lash Paradise. This is the waterproof one. I love that one so much better than the regular one. And then I'm going to be using the Tarte Pro Glow to just kind of deepen up and soften up my contour areas. And then I'm going to go in with those two highlights in the same palette just to give myself a little glow. Then I use NYX Nutmeg for my blush. And so see, I have kind of like a hooded lid, so if you can see, like the green kind of got on the brown area, so that means I need to make my cut crease a little higher than where I put it. So I just went in with the concealer just like right at that edge, and I just put it up a little bit higher. So you can do this because obviously it's kind of hard to tell where you need it, so you can always just do it first and then clean it up later. So I did that to both sides. So I ended up going in with this 22 lip liner by Kylie, and then I went in with the, what is the other one called? It's like, oh, it's Dirty Peach, and for the center, so I did a little tiny bit, a little bit of ombre lip, and then I put Buxom's Gloss White Russian right on top. And after that, I'm all done. I couldn't decide what I want to do with my hair, so I ended up curling it for once. I think it looked pretty good. What do you guys think? I think I did pretty good. I literally haven't curled it since I cut it, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!